And welcome back to Two Riders. Today we're going to take ingredients that you can find at your local store, plus a nice sharp knife. And I don't know if you can see the name here. This is from Felix in Zolgan, Germany. Got this 3 years ago when we had a chance to travel to the knife capital of Germany. 2.5 pounds of beef brisket. The recipe is usually a 5-pound recipe, but we're going to get started here and do a half recipe, and we'll go over everything and show you the ingredient list after we get going. So far we've got mixed together onion powder, we've got garlic powder, got brown sugar, we've got a little bit of cayenne pepper, and now we're going to put in some of our liquid ingredients. A cup of soy sauce. There is a half a cup of liquid smoke. Calls for a cup of nice hearty teriyaki sauce, and this has a lot of sesame seeds in it, which is another part of the recipe, but I don't have them around the house, so we're going to just use what came in the teriyaki sauce. And a cup of Worcestershire sauce. About a half a cup. There's a cup. This is a very delicious, flavorful, spicy, and just slightly sweet because it's only got about a tablespoon and a half of brown sugar. But it's a nice marinade. You want to use a pretty good sized bowl because you need room for all these cups of liquid plus the meat that's going to be drowned in it. So, here we go. Let's take a look at the beef. Now, this is brisket, and brisket, normally when you cook it, you slow cook it, and then when you serve it, you cut it across the grain so that it sort of just breaks off easily into little pieces. When you make jerky, they're recommending that you slice this with the grain so that you have a nice strip that'll stay together. Once it's cooked at a very, very low temperature and then dries out, the fibers that hold it together do weaken quite a bit, and eating it cut with the grain is not a big deal. So I'm not going to show you cutting the whole thing because that's going to take a little while, but I will show you. You can see the grain here. And the grain is running at an angle, side to side. I've trimmed off most of the fat because that's really not going to add much to the pleasure of eating the jerky with the fat on it. And what we're looking at is, and there's going to be some little tiny pieces here, but they're suggesting about a 1/4 inch slice, and that's about a 1/4 inch. This is going to cook. Well, first it's going to marinate. It's going to marinate ideally about 24 hours, and then it's going to cook very slowly, almost not cooked, more just dry, at about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. And that might be 3 or 4 hours, depending on how long it takes it to get it to the texture. This is sort of a textural cooking thing. You sort of check it as you go, but that's what you're looking at. It's a nice slice. That's about a 1/4 inch. It might be just a little thicker. Now, that piece of meat is going to end up shrinking up quite a bit as it dehydrates We're going to dehydrate it in the oven at a low temperature. And I'll go ahead and slice the rest of this down, and then we'll move on with the next part. And here we are. I've sliced it all down. You can see these slices. And at the start of this process, this weighed right at, according to the package, I didn't weigh it on my scale, but my grocery store is pretty honest on their weights. So this was 2.42 pounds of beef brisket. And after this has been run through the entire process, where it's been marinated overnight and then dried under heat in the oven and then air dried to finish sort of curing, this is going to drop down quite a bit. And I don't want to predict it because we'll just measure it instead. And I will also post the entire recipe. This is one that we've tried a couple of times, and it we keep thinking, well, wow, we can keep this around for a couple of months. The only way we'd keep it around for a couple of months is if we did maybe 20 pounds at a time, because this stuff is usually all eaten within the first week of coming out of the oven. It's just very delicious. It's super flavorful, nice, lean meat. So that's the end of part one, and we'll move on tomorrow to part two, which is the drying cooking process. And again, you can hear the marinade drip dropping down there. It is very wet. So what we're going to try to do is push all three of these shelves in at about the same time, so that we keep that marinade on that foil, keep the oven a little cleaner, and away we go. Oh, by the way, if you like this video, if you enjoy this, if you want to see more of these type of things, please just click like, and you can click subscribe, and you'll be notified whenever new videos come out. There you see our 170, and we're not trying to cook this. We're trying to dehydrate it and dry it under some heat. If you dehydrate it too slowly, your chance that it could rot. There's been a heck of a lot of sugar and salt that has bonded with the water that's in the meat, and that will keep bacteria from affecting it, especially when the water content goes down from drying it. At the end of this, we're going to do probably about 6 hours here, and we'll do 3 hours. We'll flip it over, and we'll do 3 more hours. Where's our timer? And away we go. At the end of that time, after about 6 hours of drying, we're just going to let it air dry and cool down, and then we'll package it probably tomorrow morning. And with the amount of meat we've got, it won't make it through the week, because the whole family likes it a lot. So once again, like and subscribe. You'll see more of these. And coming up here in a couple of minutes, I'm going to go ahead and post you the link to the recipe, so that you can make this at home. You'll have the full instructions. Thanks again for watching. So here we are, 24 hours of marinating, about 7 hours of dehydrating in the oven. We've got delicious jerky, 2.5 pounds of brisket, yielded about 21 pieces of dried meat. And as we said earlier, we're going to go ahead and weigh this to see how much moisture it lost. This has got an amazing smell to it, and although this would keep for maybe 3 months in plastic bags. Oh, by the way, again, at the bottom of the oven you'll see some aluminum foil. That's for easy cleanup. do a quick weight here. In the description of the video, if you look into the description area, we'll have the complete recipe. We started off with 2.4 pounds. We ended up with 14 ounces. See if I can get that on the camera here. 14.7 ounces. Once again, like and subscribe to see more of these. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time.